Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This is Ringru. Hello, hello, hello.
And folks, as always, we are giving you some monthly tournament action today on Kostritsa. Who do we have, sir?
Well, on the left-hand side, in the blue, we have wantsomenoob playing Skijager with a Vanguard income. Right-hand side in red, we have a Koenig playing as group Fedyukina. Well, he has a balanced income. There we go.
Well, I mean...
He has income too.
There's a lot of income, man. Actually, I'm kind of excited to see Skijager with this because we actually get to have the Boy to KV2, and while I don't think I see it in the opening here, a phase, we could have a nice little bit of a brace coming out to give her some very, very lovely support.
Yeah, Skijager's, my more favorite divisions to see on the battlefield, so always try to sneak in one of those replays or two, but also just a good division, which they've been a little bit power creeped out with some of the other newer divisions, but they still have some kick. Yes,
they do, and I think that's kind of the important thing, is to always feature, let's say, more venerable divisions. I say venerable not in the age that, the 43rd Reserve Army comes after the 42nd or something like that, but just like things that were here first, the Trailblazers. Speaking of little trailblazing, we are going to see Ognomachiki trying to rush on forwards with some smoke grenades. Unfortunately, they seem to kind of realize that that smoke is bad for their health, so they just kind of sit put and don't get any further.
Yeah, we're seeing a pretty aggressive play all the way in this northern town here, both sides trying to contest it. I mean, we've got the BA-10s providing fire support. The Skijagers currently don't have any long-range AT to deal with it, but at close range, I mean, it's Skijager infantry. They make rather short work with those strokies.
Especially that the Skijager Sturmfusiliers coming out in as well, not because of the the ranged AT, as you kind of said before, but come on, this is the STG FP44 kind of division. This is the fun guys.
Everyone gets assault rifles. They're living in the modern age.
Yeah, and still at the same time getting forced back because there's just not enough support fire, which is weird. Although we are seeing another pair of planes coming in. We actually saw a Ju-87 to the south and a Dornier 217 coming on in with those 20mm cannons. This could be kind of brutal.
Yep, going after the anti-tank gun, getting some rather good hits. But once again, it always comes down to just effective fire support. May not have the better infantry, but if you have machine guns and armored cars, well, you can always even up the odds at range. It's really working well here so far for Mr. Koenig.
Well, look at that 20 mic kind of pushing with that Yak 9T, so that's pretty solid there. Now, down south, we actually are seeing a bit of a tentative ready to push, as we are seeing Skijagers in the trees. I see some Sturm Fusiliers in between the two kind of gaps here. And Stroke DTs, okay, so we missed the opportunity to really get in those trees and get kind of stuck in, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, he's just kind of playing a bit more defensive, which actually I can't get with the Skijagers, because in that more light forest area, they can take advantage of their SDG range over flamethrower and SMG range.
Yes, but I feel like if you're getting pushed in the north, you want to kind of force your opponent, especially when you're getting rocked on your heels, which I really would argue he is. You want to be able to kind of, pull some kind of reason to get back. Please, we want you to be distracted kind of idea,
Yeah, because the north is pretty much collapsed here so far. Oh, good snipe.
And not just
completely collapsed.
Yeah, but somehow he's still up. He was still up 13-11 here. I think that's a consequence, actually, even down south. A couple of those kind of tentative pushes. Now we're seeing it right now. Skijager's moving on in, take out the flame troops, but then Sturm Fusiliers, and yeah, with the Papa Shahs greeting them, and well, that's better firepower. So.
Yeah, good God. Yeah. Once again, just a few Molotov cocktails or two can really change someone's night or day for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, I know. Normally you would say it's a drinking problem, but when there's a Molotov cocktail, no one seems to have any issue with that. So, Pioneer Furos down south. Again, these guys are basically just sharpshooters on crack. Though not very sharpshootery. Only a few dozen rounds as opposed to 100. Regardless, more than enough, I think, to kind of push back that Strokey before too much longer.
Yeah, I always find it funny with this type of teams when they ingrained in the squad where you only got 15 shots. And you got the other dudes with the exact same rifle. Like, yeah, sorry, bud, we can't share any ammo. It's ours. It has our name on it.
So these are special rounds. You don't deserve to use these.
For my special eyes.
Well, I love the fact that there's literally a sniper warfare going on down south. There's the Ski Pioneer is actually engaged the Snipiri down to the south, and he gets pushed back to Snipiri, that is.
over.
Yes, indeed. Now there's a 37 mil palm gun kind of pushing back Ju-87 is kind of being brought on in, as well as a Su-85, which is, well, that's scary AF right now.
And the Ju-87 is also coming. I believe he's going to try and blap to Su-85. See if the air cover will be enough.
It's not going to. He might get a couple bombers off. Oh wow, he gets most of his payload. That was actually not terrible.
But not enough to get the kill, unfortunately. Su-85 barely surviving now.
Oof. Then again.
Oh.
Ju-87 does die, but the T-3485, the Boita T-3485 that is, does take him out. So 95 points for, what's that? I always forget. Jeez. The Su-85 about 70? Yeah, 70.
Yeah.
So not a perfect thing, especially when you look at the fact that there's going to be a lot of T-34s, so the 1944 variants coming over here in the B into C phase. But hey, on the face of it, killing that early kind of material, definitely worthwhile, I would argue.
Yeah, and we are seeing our wantsomenoob has started to invest quite a bit more in the medium tank department. He's got out fire support of the anti-tank guns as well. So he's probably going to try to make another person to that northern town. I mean, right now, Koenig does have a decent frontline defense, but once these strokey DTs go down, and they are taking a lot of fire, there's not a whole lot to back them up.
I'm surprised that the grill is moving on in a little bit more aggressively, or to bring a grill in. Not because I want any kind of barbecue, of course, but rather even trying to sneak it in. Right about that's got the Scharfschütze or the Panzerschrecks. I think that would still be a fairly decent positioning for it.
Yeah, just start lobbing some long-range high explosive. But right now, the push is going pretty well. It's mainly if he can just keep that Stug-3G alive, and also get that PAC-36 probably into a good position to knock out the reinforcement road. He should be able to regain that northern town.
The unfortunate strokey DTs, while they may not have a ton of fire, I still argue there's probably enough of them to kind of retard the progress until something more threatening does get in there. Like the Su-122 coming down that road to the north, that's got a bit of a problem.
Oh, yeah. Bringing in some more heavy fire support as well as this too to probably deal with that Stug-3G. And looking down south, we are seeing... Oh, he's bringing in the off-map here, so he's going for the run-2 punch. He doesn't have a whole lot to really follow through, just two rather depleted squads.
Yeah, but I think this is a shielding barrage. He knows there's troops in there. Yes, he's going to put people on the road. But he's also... Okay. Yep. The Russians, for the most part, are going to get out of there just in time. Or they're going to be even forced across the road. Ooh, this could have really backfire. It's really backfire.
Kind of like splitting them up. Might actually work right, considering the Skijagers are in that forest. Or maybe not. Yeah, it will backfire.
I was looking at the northern side, Ju-87 being brought on in. He's not even get turned over into his bombing run. And to the northern side, that Stug almost got taken out by a 45 mil, but the 45 mil does bite the big one, and transmission destroyed the Stug 3, never mind.
Yep.
A second M45. So transmission destroyed. There's going to be not... Oh, crew killed. Yikes, that's... Yeah, yuck.
That's always the danger of playing up north on this map, is there's just so much forest and so many killing zones. You just put cheap anti-tank guns that it can be quite risky. For Koenig, it's a bit of an advantage because he can just use BA-10s up here. If you lose them, you don't care.
Whoa! Sorry, I forgive me for cutting in, but look down to the south. That actually went way better than I had any right to.
Oh, he kind of killed everybody.
Yeah, and anything else is retreating for the hills. Like, this is the opportunity, and he's bringing in... Okay, 2 squads, not the biggest of pushes, but bringing also the grill in to kind of support fire down to the south. This went way better than I thought it was ever going to.
Yeah, that's quite a explosive development, one can say. But I'd be curious to see whether he, seizes this initiative. He does have a lot of time right now, just because those Strelkies ran away quite heavily. But I'd be curious to see if he, heavily reinforces down south. There's the perfect opportunity to get into these two, or rectangular forests and just lock it down.
Well, luckily for, I would say, actually no, Koenig did not get the win out of this because here up north almost got another barrage off. Thankfully for Koenig, the 37 mil pushed back that off map. But yeah, this is a rather good position, but I don't think he's going to aggress and really take advantage of it. Not in time, anyway. I think we're going to get that M45 up, we get the Maxim up, and then there's more DTs being brought on in here, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it does have a very good defense. You can continue to spam those anti-tank guns, and... Well, wantsomenoob does have some pretty good tanks, especially in B-phases, having the cheaper T-34s will probably work a bit better for him rather than these more expensive runs. It's just a pretty decent defensive line set up here from Koenig, like just between the forest and the city, which is under his control. He's doing a very good job just warding off wantsomeenoob's little, prods every now and again.
But you know what? wantsomenoob doesn't have to be super aggressive. I mean, he does and he doesn't at the same time. And I suppose I should explain myself even further. We're in B phase, so Koenig just says, okay, fine, if I can mitigate the bleeding for now, it doesn't matter quite as much.
Yeah, because when you get to C phase, income advantage is quite nice, so he just needs to survive for long. And also considering wantsomenoob has no C phase units in his deck, so he's going to have a very hard time on the attritional roll.
Nib of Over Barrage coming to the northern side, of course, looking for the anti-air, and might get some stress, but that would be about it. Nope, not even stress.
Well, they moved.
Yikes. Okay. I'm not saying that was World War I barrage, but that was pretty close to World War I barrage where nothing happened.
This is why you load up the neighbor Earth with gas.
That would be a terrifying thing to add to this game. Grill moving on forward, being far more gutsy than I feel like I would be in the open, but you know what? Good on ya. And the Strokies kind of taking their positions back down south. Now, looking back to the northern side, you were talking before about the attritional warfare, and we're seeing some artillery support start trying to engage that anti-air positions from basically the 160 mil and that Su-76 too. Oof, and take them down actually.
Damn, good little hit.
But while that's happening, they're not hitting the front lines, and we're starting to get a delicate push into this town.
Yeah, like 3 ski fusilier squads. This is some rather beefy infantry here. Recon 25 points. They're actually really bloody good squad for the price. Good God, and with the T-34 backing them up, it's a pretty important opportunity here for wantsomenoob. He needs to make some sort of crazy, offensive push into one of these sectors and start really getting that big bleed advantage.
He's certainly offending me. Unfortunately, I don't think that T-34 really wants any of that smoke from the 45 mil, even despite the fact that he's got the armor to take it. And I'm wondering if maybe, just maybe, there should have been a little bit more artillery support being lined up for that. Maybe like a Sturmpanzer, for example?
Yeah, I actually riveted Ray quite quickly, considering it wasn't that crazy of a defense, but just having the threat of that, like M40 or the 45 mil and just whatever's in that forest to provide fire support into the town is really being quite effective here for Koenig. Once again, he is a really great geographical position to just hold.
I mean, I get why, though. Before first strike. So, I still am not the biggest fan of the munitions on this. At least he's going for this and not just trying to hit the anti-air. But at least there's an opportunity to kind of aim thusly. Now, the other naval warfare strike is going to be largely ineffective. He might kill one squad. He might kill that Maxim. So you could, argue that at least the munitions weren't completely wasted here. But I feel like if I'm hitting the town, I want to blow apart the town, and I can enfold anything else that remains.
Yeah, it's honestly save those neighbor effort barrages for initial ski Jaeger push. That probably would have made a much better headway into that location if he had a preliminary bombardment here. He's got another group of ski Jaegers being brought in, but they're probably going to get caught out in the open by the Strokey DTs.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to get in that squad's going to cut in half. The other one's going to get cut in half. Oh no, the other one gets out in time. Okay, this is moderately okay.
And once again, he's got those T-34s, they can provide fire support, but this is very risky maneuvering about, and you're seeing wantsomenoob is being very careful about it. It's not exactly, you can afford to lose them, but especially a Skijager, you don't, because they're your best tank available.
This is true. So I got distracted by the Ju-87 coming on to kill out that Maxim. But while we are over here and lofting our heady positions over here at wantsomenoob, he is up still, 13-11, and he's been up pretty consistently this entire game.
Mm-hmm. I think it's just going to come down to, well, he can hold his defensive line pretty well. I mean, he's doing it. It's just going to come down to the attrition. And with 20 minutes left, especially with the way his deck is built, I don't think he's going to have enough stuff in 20 minutes. So he did get a very good neighbor effort barrage in that mountain mortar.
Yep, and you have to respect that one. I mean, northern side, in the meantime, Stoke 3, gonna stand strong against pretty much all of that infantry because, unless you get rinking up and close, which is a possibility, one of those RPGs, yeah, not a whole lot you're going to do against him.
No, not at all. We are seeing a continuous push into this town here. We got 2 Martyr 3s being brought up. The off-map plane is also coming in. But I also like how, I love this, he's pushing the center. You don't see people push the center. I keep saying this every time we see this map. It's just push the center.
Because it's scary. It is a scary place to go. It's out in the open. You almost feel like you have to stay in the trees, and you don't, especially when you have enough mechanized material to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, he's got the stern punches, he's got the Martyr 3s, he's got the neighbor alphas, the grills, and as you can see, this is always the soft underbelly of this map, and he is going to make some fantastic progress here. He's going to be off-mapping up north to really finish up that town. This is a good little spurt of energy coming out here from wantsomenoob. I really like this.
I'm not sure how that T-34 just died, but it did just die, and that's with 4 seconds left. This infantry is falling back right into this barrage. This pack could be something that breaks Koenig center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Alright. Probably the luckiest thing over here so far for Koenig is that there's not enough infantry to really consolidate this.
Yeah, he's starting to run a little bit low, and also just been investing a lot in those armored vehicles and neighbor alpha strikes. And speaking of neighbor alphas, they're going to be firing off once again, trying to do some counter battery. But he's firing against an SPG, so he can just self-propel him right out of here.
For now, yes, absolutely true. Trying to see if there's any infantry being brought on in. Of course not. But the neighbor warfare strike continues. And this is where I think with the munitions for me it gets a little bit frustrating. You've hit the artillery. If you're not going to push, then continue to hammer the front lines and make sure that your opponent doesn't come right back in and take up the same positions again. Like that to me, I think is a little bit of a missed opportunity.
I think he's very focused right now on trying to take the center, and he's overextending a little bit. His ski fusiliers getting caught out in the open. SU-85 all the way down south, going to a pretty good ambush position there, knocking out a transport. This is going to be pretty important here for wantsomenoob if he can solidify his center, because he is getting that nice plus 2-point advantage. But he can't really replace any of these vehicles if they die, especially like the Sturmpanzer.
That's true, but we also think that the Pack 40 being brought on in. So the T-34s, the SU-85s, like, this is still, especially when it shows you your heals. Yikes. Okay, this duel over here is important enough, the SU-85 backs away. Okay. Mm-hmm. And now you have the grill firing down the road.
Good hit.
Very good hit.
He's going to push up with the Skijagers. That should be enough to finish off the Strelkies and kill a lot of that stuff in that forest. He still has very good momentum in the center. And from that center position, if he was to hook around just a little bit, center to the north, get a T-34 or stuck here, he can kind of knock out the resupply line into that town, at least from the center of the map.
Well, here's the interesting thing. So Fedyukina, we're looking over here at this northern side, and we're seeing a ton of infantry just trying to consolidate into that town. Is this a missed opportunity from Koenig? Should he be trying to rotate the axis of his attack?
Like from the north and try to hit down south?
Yeah, at least to begin with, anyway.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good idea to relieve pressure here. But I think it's just, he's taken some pretty heavy casualties in that initial push, and especially up north is pretty heavily defended here from wantsomenoob, so he can afford to throw his raid a little bit and defend it. And also the problem with the far north is, It's not like a whole lot of flag pressure you can really push. I mean, in the far north, we got all these Strokies here, but there's not really a whole lot for him to capture. Not enough to, like, stop the bleeding.
Well, the unfortunate thing is that wantsomenoob going to hit his own forces with the Nibelwerfer strike.
It's just motivation, Khan.
You and I have very different ways of motivating people, it feels like. Yikes. And property values have now been tanked. So, good to know. If there's anything... I think they call it gentrification. And sometimes you
Buyer's market?
Exactly. Because all the sellers are dead.
Yeah. It's free real estate.
What is it? When there's blood in the streets, buy property? I think we're seeing this for sure. Point to T-34 engaging 85 mil over here, and with Martyrs just using their few HE shells to really kind of support this push. The Skijagers are not going to be denied, and Koenig is rocked onto his heels, which is very, very surprising, because again, we thought C-phase would be very, very different.
No, he managed to, take advantage on that soft underbelly. He really needed that because, once again, the attrition in terms of points and deck build is not in his favor. So all he has to do now, instead of hold for 20 minutes, is hold for 5 minutes, and I think that's very durable.
Especially since he has now his third and final Nibelwerfer on the field, and frankly, just continue to use these guys as just stopgap measures. Oh, you want to engage here? I'm just going to throw down a barrage and slow up your push.
Mm-hmm. We've seen another pretty big push all the way up north.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's really trying to break his northern side. But wantsomenoob has a good defense. A T-34 is still alive, and the Skijagers have pretty good killing fields.
And that's the other thing, too, is that, yes, these guys can get hit by all of that infantry AT. But if your infantry AT can't get close enough, I mean, and you have to get real close for, like, knife fighting, T-34's got great sight lines, or at least great defensive sight lines. So...
Yeah. It's also like the big advantage of the Skijager division is, well, the Soviets, especially this one, like they really have to get within that 100-meter range for the CQC infantry to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
But the Skijagers, between like all the STGs, SMG squads with MG42s, lots of rifles, they actually perform very well in the more of the short mid-range engagements where they have just a bit of a range advantage over the Soviet CQC squads. And we're really seeing that pay off here.
Absolutely. I feel like the Nibelwerfers are waiting for everyone to be reloaded to actually go and try to engage overall. Yak 9T being engaged by just a lot of 20 Mike down south. And all the way to the south, Sturm Skijagers are charging forward. They're going to take out this Su-85 with one of their throwing grenades. And that's the moment on the ISU 152. I'm like, okay, Big Joe, I'm not getting any closer to that. You can send me to Georgia. I'll stay where I am. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Going to refill his infantry reinforcements camo, which is definitely the right move here. But all Koenig can do is just contain the south. It's going to be way too costly for him to try to break all the way through just to get that one flag. Far south, his more immediate concern should be the center, because we just have all these SPGs just hanging about. South guns through the enemy.
Well, I keep waiting for the Nibelwerfers to speak again. Okay, yeah, there we go. They're starting to engage the town. That's the right position. That's good. And hit the forest. Yep, this is what I'm talking about. Wantsomenoob is, okay, my infantry's falling back. This is a problem. Okay, let's stop it. Let's stall the game out. Let's reset and go from there. This is the perfect use. I mean, if you're not being aggressive, okay, this is the shield. Absolutely.
It's starting to feel a little bit now. Koenig kind of thrown in like his last Shirai is only rows 2, but now 5 minutes in the timer for him. But he's kind of just attacking everything in the center to try to make some sort of breakthrough. The center is pretty weak. The Martyrs and Grills are taking some casualties from the 85 mil, but he's really going to make some progress. And I think Neighborhooders are just going to say no.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, the Stroke DTs from the northern side, they're pushed back. Yes, there's a Panzerschreck squad that's pinned down, but that Panzerschreck squad is going to keep the Su-122s at bay, it's going to keep the MTRAs at bay, and I don't know. I feel like this is wantsomenoob game to lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just has traded pretty damn efficiently here, and he still has like a lot of his main heavy hitters alive. Both KV2s are, or one of them's being shot at right now, so I should probably end my sentence here.
Is he? Okay. I see
Yeah, the
both in the
ISG
middle.
152.
Okay.
He's going distance.
Yeah, he's going for speed. A speed hole, that is. And yep, he does get it. He
So
gets it.
I shouldn't even brought it up.
Yeah,
I'm sad to see the KV2s get lapped.
I was gonna say they're antiques at this point.
They are.
Now Martyrs in the meantime, yeah, they go down, but the 37 mil's not gonna do a whole lot to this. And again, Koenig just has to throw his troops at a wall and hope that something happens. wantsomenoob just has to kind of say, okay, fine, I will throw enough material in the way that it bleeds until you bleed out.
Yeah, and it does feel like wantsomenoob is starting to crack a little bit, as he has taken some casualties here, and the rate of force is in Koenig's favour, but once again, it's just coming down to geography. I mean, far north at T-34 is holding the line, Yamcha goes down. I think that should be good for the northern push in.
Yeah, what's the old phrase about the markets? They can remain irrational, long they can remain solvent. Like, that's the same push that wantsomenoob has right now. It's like, okay, dude, you got 60 seconds. I will throw every last guy because all I have to do is wait for 60 seconds. I don't care about them. I'm not fighting tomorrow, dude.
Yeah, we have all the investment advice in this cast, Khan.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Buying property. Wait till the town's exploded. That's actually how I bought property in Fallout 3. I exploded Megaton and then I invested. Yeah. So Preston never had to talk to me. I never had to help Megaton out. It was great. Yes, I'm aware of Fallout 4, but that's besides the point.
I just blew up Megaton because it was fun.
Yeah, it kind of was, wasn't it?
Yeah. And you get a cool penthouse.
That's true.
Much better than a shack.
That's true. And you may find yourself living in a shotgun shack if you live in a megaton. And one last minute before first strike looks like it's going to be happening over here. It is 13:11. So again, unless things go horribly wrong right here at the end of it, which, knowing us, it absolutely could be. But it's 40 seconds. 20 seconds. And I really have to doff my hat over here to wantsomenoob. So we'll see how this goes. Honestly, again, I'm wantsomenoob. I feel like we're gonna I said this before we started the cast. I feel like we're gonna get Luna here.
It's always Luna.
It's always Luna.
And there we go. The GG is and actually, wow.
It's not Luna.
Indeed, but I'm actually more surprised about the KD here. It didn't feel that close. I think more towards the end, wantsomenoob was just taking casualties, but he actually was negative on KD.
But again, the entire thing there at the end was, I'm going to trade as much as I need to keep this territorial advantage.
Glad for space.
Yep. 152 picking up both those Sturmpanzers, you big bully. The Luftwaffe did not have a great day. Not even remotely.
No.
And
the losses.
Grill, decent enough. The KV2, decent enough. Heck, the Skijager over here, Koenig. Well done, sir. But all said and done, shockingly minimalistic kind of approaches.
Yeah, once again, it's really nice to see someone just push a soft underbelly in an open area of the map and not be, I forgot, what's open field phobia again? Agoraphobic?
Agoraphobia.
Agoraphobia. Yeah, and like someone, facing their agoraphobia, taking the risk, pushing the open, and as you can see, it may not be the best geography for your division, even if you have more CQC one, just the timing of it can pay dividend.
I do think that, it was agoraphobia. I think that's a fear of aggressive people or plants. I don't know. It's probably one or the other. Though.
Or farm fields.
Exactly. No farming simulators here. Any final thoughts, sir?
No.
Folks, in that case then, until Thursday, I'm Koenig.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.